Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we'll start this morning with Matt Cherke. Matt, welcome to the school board meeting. Thanks for coming in to share what you have us.
Thank you, and I appreciate you have given me a few minutes to address you this morning. I'm here this morning to give a face to the email that you received a couple weeks ago, and also just to express how important that issue is to my wife and I. We sought accountability through the appropriate channels, and we did not feel that that was handled in the way that it should have been. As you know from the documentation in the email, 2 words on a sheet that was emailed to us: disruptive behavior. No specific comments noted, no specific behaviors noted on there. And this was escalated all the way to an out-of-school suspension. No prior alternate disciplinary actions were attempted, and in 121A.45 of the Pupil Fair Dismissal Act, no school shall dismiss any pupil without attempting to use non-exclusionary disciplinary policies and practices before dismissal proceedings. Further, in the school's dismissal policies, the principal shall consult with parents of students conducting themselves in a manner contrary to a policy. Not one phone call, not one email, not one conference prior to the date of this is an out-of-school suspension. You would think that after everything that had occurred, communication, in the very least, would have been better, and or things would have changed. However, the Friday before the end of school, my student was removed from a class, no context, no explanation. Walked in and sat down and was told with 2 other students, go sit in the office. They missed their entire library time, their entire recess time, and were only dismissed in order to go to lunch. No communication was sent down to the office either, because the only comment that we received was from the secretary stating, maybe it's from something that happened last week. Well, it was in fact from something the previous week where the students had been talking in library time and asked to simply sit in the hall. No communication at that time either. Nothing. We knew nothing of it. And in 506, Section 9, recess and other breaks, the school district must not use recess detention unless the student is likely to cause serious physical harm to another student or staff, the parent or guardian consents to use of recess detention, or the student is receiving special education services. Subsection E also states that the school district must make a reasonable attempt to notify a parent or guardian within 24 hours of using this. The response we got was, well, this wasn't a recess detention, and they were dismissed, maybe didn't get to do the whole thing. I consulted with my student. That was not true. They missed the entire recess, and they were only dismissed when it was time to go to lunch, to the cafeteria. Further, we never would have been notified of that. The only reason we were notified was because we talked with our child, and he told us what happened. The communication with the principal that we've been dealing with has been extremely lacking from the very beginning of the school year, and it has occurred throughout the entire year. And as I noted, not one phone call, not one conference, not one alternate form of discipline attempted but we skipped all the way to the second most severe discipline, because the only thing beyond that is expulsion. I don't think that that fit the behavior that was occurring, and there should have been something that was attempted, or there should have been more communication with us as parents to help come alongside the school and take care of that issue. Accountability doesn't always feel good. I've been on the receiving end of it before too, but it is necessary. And I trust that in your work session, as you discuss this, that you will keep those things in mind. And I look forward to hearing from someone after the meeting. And I hope that a positive resolution can be reached regarding this issue.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And next we'll hear from Jacob, do I say Yeski?
You are one of the few that got it right the first time.
Thank you.
Impressive. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are they all the same? Or?
Yeah, they are, but I got more of them here.
We're all set.
How's that?
Everyone's good?
So good morning, Mr. Yeski.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Let's see. The recommendations that I've made on the printout that I gave you are just based on things that my wife and I would have liked to have happened, and none of these did. But I'll go through that real quick like, and then I just got a little closing thing afterwards. After having my son receive his second concussion while in attendance at Fergus Falls Secondary School, I ask the board to please consider these recommendations as policy moving forward. Any and all students that have been involved in a violent act, whether they were attacking or defending, are sent to the office immediately. This removes any guessing as to the severity of the incident and makes sure that all information that may be obtained is fresh and not forgotten. Once again, that didn't happen for us. Once at the office, all parties involved should be quickly examined by the nurse so that she may treat any minor injuries and also log and report any injuries that are not treatable at the school. This step in the policy is very important, especially when it comes to a possible head injury, and shows the parents of all students that it's being taken seriously as it should be. After the students are examined by the nurse, the office should immediately reach out to the parents of all involved and inform them of the nurse's findings. At this point, the principal may let them know that an incident has occurred and the school will be interviewing all involved. Giving this update immediately informs all parents of those involved and gives the parents the option to be present when their child is being questioned. After all these steps are followed, it would also be beneficial for the principal or nurse to reach out a day or two later to check and see if everything is getting better or see if any missed injuries have been identified through symptoms or other health professionals like the ER or primary doctor. I think one of the main points to make with all of this and this policy recommendation is no school will ever be violence-free. It's just sadly the truth and impossible to not be. And the reason for that or sometimes it's just not easy being a kid. And that could come down to popularity, hormones, growing pains, not feeling heard, and expectations, just to name a few. We can, however, choose how the school and its staff reacts to it. It shouldn't blame the kids, it shouldn't hide behind excuses or lies, and it shouldn't tolerate any employee that does not follow the policies that are in place to protect its students. I believe that the recommendations I have made in giving you, if made policy, would not only protect the students physically, but also the school legally. I believe that if the school and its employees continue as it is, then it is only a matter of time before it is sued, and I pray to God that lawsuit doesn't come following the death of a student that should have been protected. I included my cell phone number on the back of their recommendations, just in case anybody has any questions or follow-up about my son's case in particular. I'm totally fine and open to chatting with you guys, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I will call to order now the school board meeting of Independent School District number 544. And with that, I will turn to the clerk for establishing our quorum.
Ruby Anderson.
Here.
Kelly Graff. Jenny Christensen. Present. Missy Hermes here. Melanie Cole.
Here.
Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion regarding the agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The agenda is approved, and we'll turn now to reports and correspondence. We have our business manager here, Renee McLeod, and she will review our upcoming budget for the next fiscal year. Good morning, Renee.
Good morning. Yeah, I'll review the FY27 budget. This will be for new fiscal year that starts July 1st. As a Minnesota school district, we are required to adopt a budget by June 30th. And so today I'll just review the revenue and expenditure assumptions that went into the general fund, and then as well as each of the budgets by fund. I should also just mention that this budget has been reviewed and discussed in finance committees during the previous months. So first, taking a look at revenue assumptions for the general fund. We're expecting a general ed formula allowance of 2.7% increase, which amounts to $7,683 per pupil unit. Special ed aid, we're expecting almost $8 million, as MDE will tell Minnesota school districts. Trying to project special ed aid is by far one of the most difficult revenue streams to project, and so we are projecting almost $8 million in special ed between the different sources that you can see there. Interest earnings, estimating about $600,000, but of course this depends on our investment performance as well as cash balances. And then enrollment, we're projecting 3,003. Here's a chart showing enrollment. The blue line represents IQ Academy, the orange line is brick and mortar, and then the green line is the total. You can see IQ Academy, which is the blue line again, on fiscal year 25, so last year we had a slight spike in enrollment, and so we are expecting that to flatten out a little bit more for this year as well as next year. The orange line, which I mentioned, is brick and mortar. We're expecting a slight decrease for next year, and this is mainly due to the large senior class that just left us. By comparison, the new kindergarten class coming in is much smaller than what's going out. Next, we'll review assumptions for the expenditures in the general fund. We are working on several union and individual contract settlements. Most of the unions have been settled at this point, but we do still have a few outstanding. The Minnesota Paid Leave Program started January 1st, and so what we're expecting for this next year, or what's in the budget, is that rates will remain stable. Rates are shared 50-50 between the district and the employees at 0.88%. I did also add 80,000 in for substitutes that take the place of those who are out for the paid leave program. PSEO tuition billing, I'm expecting about 450,000 in billing for next year. This is based on current year actuals. Unemployment expenditures, I'm projecting about 80,000 that will not be reimbursed. Minnesota MDE has told us that they will run out of funding in FY27, and so I'm expecting about 80,000 of our expenditures to not be reimbursed. And then also, Otter Tail Power has announced utility rate increases. And so the interim rate that I'm planning for, that's included in the budget, is 11.34% increase for this next year. Now we'll take a look at each of the funds, the revenues and expenditures, starting with the general fund. You can see the different sources listed there. For total revenues expected to be $47,758,471. Expenditures, since we are a service organization, most of our expenditures are spent on salaries and benefits, and so you can see the different categories there. Total expenditures $47,738,091. Just a real slight surplus of $20,380. So this is definitely a balanced budget. IQ Academy, we're expecting both revenues and expenditures to come in at $6,632,622. Food Service Fund is also a balanced budget at $2,076,052. Community Ed, also referred to as Community Service Fund. This encompasses Community Ed, as well as school readiness, ECFE, and also non-public. So even though the non-public dollars are passed through, the revenues and expenditures are still included in the budget. So for this next year, total revenues I'm expecting is $995,928. Expenditures $965,834. So just a real slight surplus there of $30,094. Building Construction Fund, not expecting any revenues or expenditures for this next year. And then the Debt Service Fund, projected revenues of $3,676,504, and then expenditures of $3,514,125. So a surplus of $168,379. And so with that, let me know if you have any questions, and I'm certainly available by phone, or you can stop in if anyone wants to see anything in more detail. This is just a real high-level overview. So,
Any questions right away for Renee?
Is this PSEO tuition, is that outsourced? Like, is that not including what we're doing for college classes here or anything?
this includes what we pay out to like M-State for our kids taking classes there, so it includes the tuition and books for that.
Okay.
Mhm. And it does also, I'd have to look to see if concurrent is included in this.
Okay.
It might be, but I can double check.
Okay, thanks.
Did you,
All right.
did you update the budget for the, I know we have an item today on the lease with Children's Corner, so I'm assuming you updated the budget with.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
Yes.
All right, we will go into our various board reports. Kirby?
Yes, I'm going to start with the Finance Committee. We did meet Tuesday, June 2nd at 4 o'clock, and it's going to be a brief report here because Renee just did a great job of recapping and condensing everything that we talked about that day into her report. So we did review all of these assumptions and asked a lot of questions, and and she answered all of them at that time. And then the 544 Foundation did meet on May 14th, and some of the highlights of that meeting were the senior recognition ceremony. Went very well, one of the best turnouts that we'd ever had, where we recognized those who were getting awards and getting scholarships. Talked about a number of class reunions this year in 2026. The Distinguished Alumni and Homecoming Hall of Fame weekend, so mark your calendars, October 2nd and 3rd this year. The Retired Staff Reunion was held on May 21st at 10 o'clock over at Community Ed, and that was a good turnout. There's a number of banners that are going to be replaced this year in the Gold Gym. They should be up sometime around July 24th, I believe, is what the date is. The Community Ed, or the 544 Foundation is going to be participating in the Career Fair this year. Again, mark that down, Wednesday, October 7th. So we'll have a booth for that. And the football game on September 11th, we'll have our Otter Pride Night to celebrate Otters. So that'll be on September 11th with that football game. And that's all I have. The next meeting will be this Thursday, and that will be at Community Ed this coming Thursday at noon. So that's how it works.
Any questions for Kirby? All right, Jenny?
Building and Grounds has not met, so I do not have a report today.
All right, thank you. As for my board report on Region 1, we had our regular meeting last month, and just as usual, getting a framework for what business is coming in and what at Region 1, when the school districts are out, when a lot of additional onboarding takes place, and kicking the services into gear for updates and stuff like that. One of the big things that the director talked about was we have a group that kind of initiates new programs for Region 1 to offer to the school districts, and it's been his opinion it's been kind of stagnant. There hasn't been much new coming down the pike, and so he talks about the efforts in that regard for what they're doing with that group. And then we talked about staffing and upcoming training conferences, and like this district, the audit is going to be taking place over the summer, and it's going to cost a lot. So that's on the radar. So that basically is about it. Always conversation in that group about the appropriate staffing levels and just the various issues with staff. So, all right. Any questions for me? So then we'll move right on to Kelly Graff.
Staff development met last week and basically just discussed some last minute staff training. Meeting was very short, and that was about all that was discussed. We will meet again in September, and the wellness committee did not meet.
All right, thank you. Missy Hermes.
Curriculum review does not meet again until October. And then policy, we're meeting later today.
Okay. Steve Vigasa.
Activities has not met, and meet and confer has not met or conferred, so I have no report.
All right. And then to you, Superintendent Drake, for your report.
Well, good morning. I don't know if it's because of recovery from all the celebrations lately or the weather, but it feels especially early this morning, and I'm a morning person. First, some thank yous. I just want to thank the staff for a tremendous year. We have a lot to be proud of. Always we'll have things to work on, certainly, but the amount of reasons to be proud of the accomplishments of our students really have been tremendous this year, and we got to see a really talented and very nice group of seniors graduate with our 3 ceremonies last week. So really proud of the staff and their hard work and dedication. One of our seniors did obviously very talented artistically, did this drawing for World Otter Day. I didn't know such a thing existed, but appreciation to Shariah Shepard for her artistic talents there. Several congratulatory notes. Again, the biggest one goes out to the class of 2026, and we certainly wish them the best in all future activities. Proud of the impact and legacy they have left, and hope that they will stay in touch and let us know how they're doing. And that is a photo that they took at Cleveland, and this was the morning of their walkthrough through all of the buildings, a tradition that's part of the seniors last week. Congratulations to Senior Otters of the Year, Izzy and Eric. Both really neat kids, and Izzy is on her way to UMD, and if I remember correctly, Eric is on his way to the U of M. So we wish them both the very best. Mindy Christensen's intercultural communications class was featured as part of a segment in NEA Today. This is a really nice honoring of her work with our students, and a nice way of drawing recognition to the school district. This is a national publication, and so really proud of her and her students and the impact that she's making. We are finishing up now with our spring sports. So the girls, for the first time, we've said this a lot about our female athletes this year. They did broke a lot of barriers, and they finished strong this spring. They were, for the first time, the Section 8AA team champions. So congratulations to the Otter Girls track and field team. You see that we had a number of state qualifiers, the 4x100 relay with Riley, Rachel, Ruby, and Tori. Estee, you've heard her name a lot this year, really talented athlete. She qualified in the 800 and 1600. Carson also had a tremendous year. She qualified in the 3200. And then Quinn in the discus and shot put. He was our lone male track and field qualifier. And then Brooke Zierden in the discus and shot put. So Brooke took 4th in the shot put and 6th in the discus. All-time personal best in the shot put. And she will go down as one of our best throwers in Otter track and field history. Carson finished 6th in the 3200, running her second best time ever. Estee, 1600, 4th place, 8th place in the 800, and the 4x100 team placed 11th, so they did not move on to the finals, but ran a really strong race, just shy of their school record time. And then Quentin, they call him Q, has qualified for the Class AA State Boys Golf Tournament. Had a tremendous second day at the section. I think they said he finished, Travis said he finished, I think 7 under par for the second day, which is really amazing golf. And if I remember correctly, the boys golf tournament is the 9th and the 10th. So his experience is coming right around the corner. Bill Swanson, what a job he's done over the years with our OtterBots program. And it's really nice to see great people recognized. So Bill was named the section coach of the year, but he was also named a state coach of the year. And so appreciate the passion and knowledge that he's brought to that program. And many of these kids go on to study engineering and pursue their lifelong careers. And part of that passion is fueled by this program and Bill's leadership. This is our end of year attendance recap, and this will be broken down. We'll discuss this more in our July meeting in more detail when we have time. But this is our district-wide, and I do want to make note of this. This would include medically excused absences, and Lynn and I talked about it, and both of us feel an absence is an absence. It's a missed day in school, so we included both of them in this report, so the board has a full picture of the attendance history from this year in our school district. Just a reminder, our goal each year is 95% daily attendance or better. So we continue to have some work to do in the district in order to hit that milestone. Jen Cohorst gave a health services annual report. I just want to touch on a few highlights of that. 9,282 total visits. That's an increase of 1,400 over the previous school year. Up above, you can see that we have 1 licensed school nurse, 2 RNs, and 1 LPN. 9,563 doses of medication were administered over the course of the year, and 225 plus students that receive assistance from our school nurse program with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, seizures, etc. They have converted from a paper record system, moving to more of a digital platform. We purchased 11 new AED machines to replace obsolete or outdated units. And then they partnered with M-State nursing students to screen 645 students for vision and hearing as part of the public health initiative. Strategic goals for 2026, CERP implementation. So that's Cardiac Emergency Response Plan. This is a new mandate from the state of Minnesota. Each building is required to have an emergency response team. And as part of that, we will have a number of folks that are members of that team that do not already have their CPR certification. They will be taking that through the school here prior to the start of the new school year. The third-party billing, we've talked more about that in the context of special ed, but we're also generating some third-party billing income from our nursing services to our students as well. Talked about the move to more digital record keeping, and then partnering with Otter Tail County Public Health to provide access to students wanting or needing immunization. Facility projects currently underway, so the Adams and Cleveland roofs are done. We did have a little bit of a leak, a couple small leaks at Cleveland last week with the rain, so we did notify the contractor and those will be fixed. We did work out what I think is a very fair agreement with the contractor over the damage that was caused to the asphalt at Adams. We've got that sewer line replacement that's going to take place here in the near future. I know the elevator work was going on at Rec, and that will also take place at Adams this summer. A huge shout out to Coopers and then also Sealands for their work recarpeting the district office. They really made quick work of that, and thanks to my colleagues for their flexibility as we were displaced for a period of time while that work was going on. The Kennedy Pool renovation, there was a delay in the concrete pour that did take place last week, and so that should still be on target for an end of June completion date. The carpeting project has moved from the district office. Now they should be starting in Adams today. We'll have some landscaping going out to my left here and also over to my right, project that will go on in June. And then I do want to thank publicly the landscaping students from our ag program for the landscaping work they did outside of Roosevelt. That really looks nice, and appreciate their creativity and hard work. Summer meals, I mentioned this last time, but that's starting tomorrow, June 9th, for our community from 3 to 6 p.m. And then again, another reminder, that's at Augustana Lutheran Church. And students will receive, or families will receive 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches for each of their students as part of that process. So again, that will start tomorrow. And then a note that the district newsletter, end of the year newsletter, has gone out. And with that, I will turn it over to any questions.
For the meals, is it any income, or is it income based?
No.
It's just anybody that's
Yep.
a member of the district?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you,
Thank you.
Superintendent. Moving on to the business items, we have our general consent agenda, which includes consideration for approval of the minutes from our last school board meeting, and then the bills and treasurer's report. Steve?
All right, so for bills, let's see. Let's just do the treasurer's report first here. The fund balance ending was 32,405,000-ish. And we typically have a lot coming in for May with the general ed and then the county levy money coming in. However, if you look, there's a larger fund balance than last year, but we have a lot of big bills in June coming up, so it's not just walking around money, I guess, if you want to call it that. For the bills, we had just under $800,000 in invoices this month. Mostly due to payroll. We have some special assessments that we paid off in full, $61,000, which ended up saving us $31,000 in interest to do it that way. The intercom system at Adams, pretty spendy, it's $50,000, but that's gonna be a nice improvement over there. Yeah, some other smaller bills, the MSBA renewal was about $10,000. Software for Link is $8,449, and then we had a payment to the architect of the pool for $4,800. That's about all I got. Just recommend we pay the bills.
Okay, thank you. For personnel, we have, excuse me, 2 certified staff hires, Diane Wicklund, special ed teacher, and Madeline Godwin, I believe it is, social studies at ALC Godwin. All right. We have 1 transfer. Darren Muckow will go from a head custodian to a custodial supervisor. Support staff separations, Cindy Rognus at the ALC, and Mars, excuse me, Nest Ludwig will be separating as a paraeducator at the ALC. We're going to renew probationary contracts for 3 special ed paras, Stephanie Ewert, Kaylee Elsog, and Jaden Duran. We've got a couple individual contracts to approve. Lynn Johnson's truancy interventionist contract, and then Leah Sarzo with the educational aid interpreter. And 2 more individual contracts. Jenny Albertson as the certified occupational therapist, and then Amelia Lamar with curriculum. So with that, I'm wondering if someone would make a motion to approve the general consent items.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion on these items?
The individual contracts, the first ones were 1 year and the second ones were 2 years. That's the
Yeah,
difference.
thanks for,
Yep.
you must have noticed my pause.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
All right, anything else? All in favor of approving the general consent, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, very well. For new business, I am seeking a motion to approve the membership to the Minnesota School Boards Association Policy Services at $9,947. Someone make that motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We had a presentation from our business manager giving us that fiscal '27 budget overview. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I want to thank Renee for doing a really good job. I mean, we covered a lot of ground in our committee meeting for finance, and she works really hard to put things together. It's a lot of plates spinning and a lot of things changing as we know, but yeah, she does a really nice job.
I like how you make it understandable.
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
I think that's a
Thank you for
skill.
explaining it like we're fifth graders.
Any other comments? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Next, seeking approval of statement of work for I. Bailey for our upcoming fiscal year 26 audit. It's gonna cost about $42,000. Would someone make that motion?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, and lastly, seeking a motion to approve the amendment to Children's Corner lease agreement. We have this information in advance of the session today, so is there a motion for that?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on that?
I have a question on it. I see that we added the interest last week. Was the Children's Corner aware that there was gonna be interest added to that 3-month reprieve?
We didn't discuss it at our last session, but thinking about the repercussions of the loan and the common practice of assigning an interest to it, we thought it was certainly fair and reasonable.
Is that something that they can disagree with then?
They could, they don't have to agree with this. They haven't seen the fully drawn up agreement, we just discussed the general terms at our last meeting.
So that could put us back into mediation then?
I would say, well, first of all, mediation certainly hasn't been ruled out. This is a short-term amendment to the lease. We have still terms to work out for the long-term lease agreement that have kind of been, that can's been kicked down the road a little bit with this proposal for a 3-month reprieve, thinking this will allow them to get their feet back under them and increase their enrollment. That's really the goal with this amended lease agreement.
I think the concern is that when you have daycare, you never know your numbers, and that's the hard part because they can go really up and they can stay really down. So do you think that adding interest to this is really going to help them? Or are we putting a Band-Aid on it for them and then they're going to eventually close? Because I'm all for the 3-month reprieve, but if we add interest to it, we're not really helping them. We're just putting a Band-Aid on it for them and they could go under.
We are also arguably hurting ourselves by not adding the interest to it. As I was asking both Jeff and Renee this morning, we are still paying the interest on that bond. So if, once we give them this 3-month reprieve, that's 3 months of interest that we are paying. Like, we're already losing that $45,000 for, you're not losing permanently, but you know, that digs into our budget for the fiscal year of 27, plus the interest that we'll be losing on it.
But their agreement has no interest in it. They're already paying $15,000 a month. I'm just not seeing how this is gonna help them. I'm trying to figure out the interest portion of it. I get that we're paying it, but I don't really feel like there is a reprieval at all for them. I just feel like we are hurting them more than we're helping them. And that's where I'm having a hard time with the interest added on.
The $15,000 that they pay every month does include interest.
It does
It
include
does,
interest already?
because it's basically a pass-through. When we borrow the money, it was an 18-year bond, and then we pay $15,000 a month towards that bond. And it's just like when you pay your house payment, there's so much that goes to principal, there's so much goes to interest. And it's the same thing with that $15,000 that we get from them, and then we pay the bond company. And so it's some interest and it's some principal. And so they actually are paying a significant amount of interest already on the $15,000 a month bond, because we borrowed that money for 18 years.
Right.
So they're already paying interest on that. So the interest now is like just like this much. It's just on that $45,000, and it's just for as long as they need to pay it back. So.
Another way of looking at it is that we will, since we won't be getting this $15,000 in the next 3 months, we're paying it out of our general fund
Right.
for the bond payment. And so if we had kept that $45,000 here, we would be making about 3% interest at our bank or by investing it. So that's actually interest we're losing by paying it out of our general fund to the bond payment.
But that isn't written in the lease right now, it just says the 15,000. Does it say like 7,000 towards rent and then the rest towards interest? I guess I didn't see that in the lease,
This-
did I miss that?
This is an amendment to the original lease, and so by us paying out of the general fund, I mean, that's not in the original lease either. This is a separate amendment where we'll pay it out of our general fund towards that bond payment. And so this is interest we'll be losing on that money that we would otherwise have in our bank account, so.
In a sense, you're just trying to recoup the costs of borrowing $45,000.
Right.
We're giving them $45,000. We're
Right.
subsidizing the private
Which,
business.
for
Correct.
clarity, they
Yes.
requested. That was their
Right.
request. At our last meeting, they kind of threw a bombshell at us and told us that if we can't give them something immediately, they will be insolvent by August, and they will have to close. And so that's why we agreed to their request of giving them a 3-month reprieve. So this was their idea, this was what they asked for, this was the break that they said that they felt could help them most to get back on their feet. If it doesn't work, if this isn't the thing that helps them get back on their feet and get their enrollment up, and they do go under, then I mean, we would have been out the.
I think
We
one
would've
other
been out the
thing,
money
I
anyway.
think one other thing to keep in mind is the context of the question you have is on interest. So if you take $45,000, let's just say they go the 3 months and they're working to get it back on their feet. So they still owe us $45,000, and at 3% a year, the monthly cost is $112.50. So I'm just saying, you have to keep that in context. It's $100. So I'm not really sure why that's a big issue.
It's not a big issue, it's just that I just didn't see that.
It's $100 a month.
Yeah, I
Okay.
get that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
I just wanted to see what the deal was and if they were aware of it, I guess I wanted to see.
Well-
Because I just didn't want it to keep moving along, and then it comes back, and then we have to go to mediation, which is gonna cost us more money. So I'm just trying to figure out what the interest was at that point.
Okay.
I would like to think that we wouldn't have to go to mediation over this,
Right.
considering the relationship that Renee and Jeff and I have cultivated with the three of them. And by three of them, I mean Courtney and Jim and Sue. So I would hope we would be able to have a mature and very productive conversation about this, if this is something that they feel strongly that they do not want to have. In those little committee meetings that we've been having, I'm confident we would be able to work through it and not have to go to mediation, because we haven't yet.
I hope so, yeah.
They have a viable, long-term foundation with the agreement if they boost their enrollment. If they don't boost their enrollment, then their future's gonna be really challenged.
Right. That's what I was hoping to avoid.
Well, and one of the basic fundamentals for a majority of the board is that this doesn't cost us education dollars for that business. We cannot, even $100, cannot use our education money for that business. It was a contract that needs to be adhered to, or, or the process we're undertaking, but that's the bottom line. Other comments? All right, with that, we have a motion, all in favor of approving the amendment to the Children's Corner lease agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
That is approved. We have a work session, we'll talk, do our strategic planning session agenda, start talking about what we're gonna spend a half a day on in July. And I believe we'll talk about the issues presented by our guest speakers that appeared before the meeting today. And then we'll be back June 22nd, same time, 7:15 here at Otter Community Room. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.